Welcome, everyone. Brother Swami. I'm very happy to see all of you here. I think the last satsang we said, I told Pranay, Pranay, if we have 250 members on YouTube, we reach our goal. And I look like early today or yesterday it was like 250, maybe 251 or so now. So it is amazing how Master works. So we dedicate this satsang to our Master, Mr. Puri, and the Great Master. And I'm not saying in the memory, in loving memory of Mr. Puri, because for me, he is alive. And this is very difficult to explain. Excuse me. Extremely difficult to explain. Because generally, everyone sitting here at this satsang, in this minute, when they think of Mr. Puri, those who were initiated by him also, when they think of Mr. Puri, they think in the past tense. In other words, they holding the image in the memory. To them, Mr. Puri left physical form. And to many, they will say, well, Master merged into the source. Everyone has a different definition of that, what that means. Please understand, this is not how I see things. This is not how I perceive this. Not at all. I do not experience this in the past tense in the sense that in a linear fashion. So there's a huge difference in that. There's a huge difference in that. Let me explain something before I address some of these questions here. That most of you perceive life in a linear fashion. You also perceive karma and all the concepts in linear fashion. And by Valerian, this is described as there's a huge science about that. This is described as a sequential karmic pattern. In other words, most of you sitting right now, you experience this life And then you have a concept of past life, maybe concept of the life before that, and also you have a concept of future lives. Maybe I know many of you don't want to come back here, future life, but the concept of maybe also causal effect on the future life. But let's say you will see or perceive future life, and if you can tap in to the inner, in the sense that even from astral form you can see this life, you may still perceive this way. Many people will have a regression of the past lives, they call, and so forth and so forth. By the way, I went through that too. With very different effects. So there was a Michael Newton system. I went through that to see life between lives, but when I was there, the person trained in that system, regression, it involves kind of a hypnotic state. Anyway, regression before you're born and your life between the lives and all that. They were like in shock what they find out. What I actually told them, because what I told them, that was everything in total mismatch what they were doing. So this lady, she was like a professional. She went through this program with Michael Newton. There was a book, Life Between Lives. So she was like, whoa. I gotta call Michael Newton. I gotta call Michael Newton. This is he need to know about this. Because I start telling her what is really going on. And I was like laying on the sofa, there's this whole procedure they use, relaxation, go in this hypnotic state, kind of, and so forth, so forth. You're still aware, but then you start, according to the system, be aware about before this life when you go and all the rest. So I don't know how that ended. I went again years ago in Chicago. There was a whole life expo, and I went to see. She was with this gentleman. I think her husband, doing the workshop, and I was sitting way in the back. And I'm not sure if she recognized me. And I was listening, maybe for half hour or so. There were different workshops you could attend. And she was still saying or doing what she was doing originally. So I guess they still continue that system. And the system describes, when you die, you go through this preview, and you have these guides, guiding you to this different level, different colors, and so on. If you ever read Michael Newton book about the souls and so on, in his description, what people say, what happened between their lives. When you die, what happened to you, and when you are born. So that when you're not in a physical form, when you're in astral form. It was very interesting at the time. I think Grace also read this book. But the things I actually told, it was like totally changing everything. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I was not in a contact with them after that. So, but every one of you sitting right now, you see this life and experience this life, and you may have a concept of what happened after you die. And this is the concept I was speaking about. Before you are born again. But still, this is the sequential experience or linear experience. So this may or may not be how it is. I'm trying to metaphorically explain something to you. Let me adjust this a little bit. Let me give you a different concept. I'm trying to make a point about something. Maybe we will talk in the future. Look at the concept of simultaneous lives. In other words, from that point of consciousness or within consciousness, let's say you may have 1,000 lives simultaneously. Even in linear fashion, they all exist. You just perceive them within your consciousness as in a linear fashion, in linear time. This is a sequence, there's a past, there's a now, and there's maybe future lives. But you perceive as a one life at a time. Now, imagine you readjust your consciousness to the point that you perceive 1,000 lives simultaneously. And in your being, all these lives are reflected within you. Within your form, which is still limited. This is not your end form. But within that form, this is all reflected. You can see all of them simultaneously. And there could be life, which is the final life, let's say, within this, and there could be some of the lives which are very advanced lives. There could be a life when you're with the master. Or there could be a life when you're in different form, and so forth and so on. But you're able to perceive them. Please understand, you're able to perceive them simultaneously. You do not perceive them in the sense as a past or present or future. This concept ceases to exist. So you have awareness to all of them, and you can tap in to any of them at your will. Imagine that. And they all coexist indefinitely, so to speak. Each life has its being, and you always can go back to that life, and you always can experience this life, or all of them. So let's assume that generally this will be about 1,000 lives. Okay, I'm just not making this number. This is out of Valerian. So from that perspective, everything changes. I'm trying to be as simple as I can. I'm trying to give you a metaphor or something which is, I'm not saying this is true or not true. This has to be experienced. It's meaningless to try and convince anyone of any of this. So in that sense, if you love someone and he loves you, this is kind of continuing. There's no end to it. There's an end from the linear or sequential point of view or experience. And this has to do with the DNA, and this is a whole subject about that, why we experience like that. And this is, I'm almost afraid to even say where this really is. Maybe privately, if somebody asks me, I will tell him, where's that really coming from? Why we experience in linear fashion? Because this is not the original state as we are. I'm trying just to make that point to you. So from that point of view, everything is different. And from the sequential point of view, which you experience, so let's say you have a being and you have this astral cord, astral cord to the physical body, let's call it that way. So from the sequential point of view, you have a one silver cord terminated in a physical form. From the other point of view, you may have thousands of those, let's say, and 1,000 different forms. Some of them are people, some of them don't look like people. So in other words, let's say from that point of view, if you stand in front of the mirror, you will see all these different forms you could see. It's a metaphor. If you go in, stand in front of some huge mirror, you can see reflection. Well, it's not just going to be a reflection of Cezary, but from that state of awareness, you can have reflections of different forms too. So in the sequential karmic pattern, it takes a very long time. It might take millions of years, to have this development. Well, from the other point of view, this is very fast, can be very fast. And I'm trying to explain something here. Don't be limited what you just experienced now. Do not put the limitations what the being can experience. Now, when we speak of a perfect living master, everyone will say, oh, the masters, they are aware of all of it, all these different regions, all these different forms, all this different stuff. I'm trying to explain what that may even mean. What does it mean to you? It's easy to say, to be aware of this, aware of that. But to experience, it's totally, to experience that, it takes a totally different, even mind. So if you come over somewhere to someone's house, and let's say he's a perfect living master, he will look at you differently. Please also understand that nobody can hide. Let's say there's 10 or 20 of us here, so we all have our thoughts, we all have our little secrets. Please understand that these secrets do not exist to live above. What people are telling you here, what they're trying to convey to you, maybe this, maybe that, or even lie to you, this can be verified very easily. Because in astral form, let's call this form, I know Master explained this as 5 senses, and then 6th sense, which is really astral intuition, you can call that. Even from the, but let's call it the astral form as something kind of independent, maybe. Let's look at that way, because the senses, that's getting kind of confusing. What does that really mean? So imagine you in the astral form, which is kind of sparkling, has generated his own light, so to speak. You're in that form, and someone else is in that form. But in that state of awareness, you cannot lie, because you can read someone's thoughts, even though. So you cannot lie to somebody. As far as the language, it really doesn't matter, because you can speak another language and that person can speak another language. This is conveyed to the telepathic, I call it telepathic awareness. It's not that, but I'm just trying to convey something. So when anyone comes over here in this physical world with all these limitations, because like I was trying to explain to you, we can, from the linear point of view, we cannot even know what a past life is. But many people claim, oh, they know what the past life was. And usually you see the Cleopatra or Julius Caesar or some king, or nobody wants to be, I was a beggar or anything like that generally. So they would say I had some great experience. And there's a story about great master about that. And, you know, his past life, I mean, Hazur Baba Savansan. And there's this, this other masters. And this may not, you know, this is very interesting subject. What I'm getting to is that I noticed that many people making very huge claims lately. After Mr. Puri passed away, there's a lot of people making tremendous claims, including they make the claims that they are the master or successor of Mr. Puri. Mr. Puri told them this and that. They even initiating people. What is my point of view on that? My point of view on that is not I do not interfere in any of that. The reason I'm saying this because at least in this satsang, I would like you to be aware of this may not be exactly the truth. Also, this can be very easily verified by someone who can just step into the next level of awareness. Mr. Puri explained that the astral form or astral body has maybe a lifespan of 3,000 years or so. So, but if you can tap into that form, it becomes like an open book. You can check out anything, really. So this lie, or people lying to you, or making this and that, or making these promises, which may be true or maybe not, they exist here in this physical world, because we have like in the 19th century and beginning of 20th century, like in cities like in New York or somewhere, they had those people selling coal maybe, and this people, you know, they had like these horses pulling the wagon, and they had like this flaps on the side so they can, you know, anything that does not disturb them, so the horse will only see like this. So we kind of like that horse. We can kind of be aware on the sides, but we are not, because we have those flaps, you know, right on the side. So this is the situation, and because of our critical faculty is underdeveloped. Generally, I'm just kind of surprised how underdeveloped the critical faculty is, because some stories I hear is just like unbelievable. And the sad part is they can be verified very easily. My understanding is that the real master can look at you and there's no secrets in that sense. He can see where you operate from. So let's say someone might claim, I'm the super master, you know, but if you look at them, they only operate from Sahasrara right here. In other words, from the astral region. So there's no hiding. You cannot hide it. You can run, but you cannot hide from the truth. There's a book by one saint, Fakir Chand. I consider him a perfect living master. He was living some time in the past. So is Mr. Puri, but Secret of Secrets, I believe. But in that book, he says at the end, I'm paraphrasing, in the end, true will prevail. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody wants to sell you or convince you to anything, in the end, true will prevail. It's always like that. And this is what Fakir Chand, his final message is at the end of that book also. And this is my experience. Last year and a half, I was able to verify many different things, what these masters are saying. So please don't think like I'm doing this for myself too. Because I am able also verify many different things, just even through the satsangs, which otherwise would be very hard to arrange. But I have to tell you something, what these masters are saying, it is true. No, I'm speaking now from my own experience, not just a theoretical experience, but things I can verify, even through you. Many things I can verify even through you as the listeners to the satsangs or other satsangis. You may be aware of that, or you may not be aware of that. That's another story. Yesterday, Grace gave me a book. This is the book. I never read this book before, but I kind of recommend this book for many reasons. I started looking through this book. This has to do with the saint of Taran, Baba Kehar Singh Ji. But anyway, the book was written by a very good friend of Master and his wife. This dedication is this book. So, but this book was written by the good friend. Good friend of ours. So I recommend this book. But in the end of this book, in the end of it, by the way, if you look to that ashram in the publication, there was Anurag Sagar 1, Anurag Sagar 2, and Anurag Sagar 3 written. You may be interested. If you're interested in the subject, you may like, worth it to check it out. I would like to read this here to you. I normally try not to use anybody else, but Grace just showed me this book, and since this comes from Mr. Puri's house. In this perishable world, only God is eternal. To meet him, we need the living master who holds the key to the lock of the place inside a body when he is sitting. That key is Nam, a word, or audible live stream, and meditating on it, one can be liberated from this word. Having faith in Guru, one can begin to understand the reality that God can be realized inside the body. Searching for him in the outside world is a waste of time and effort. Now it's actually I'm reading what's here. we receive this precious human body only after going through the entire cycle of transmigration. This is interesting because this person, this author of this book, using transmigration. And really, we always dealing with transmigration. We replace this with reincarnation because somehow reincarnation is more politically or spiritually correct word. Reincarnation, kind of like, oh, if I have this physical form, I'll be reincarnated in a physical form and so on and so on. All my past forms of a human form. Please understand that we're really dealing with transmigration. So you may have a human form now. And you'll be convinced that you're going to be reborn in a human form. Generally, everybody thinks that way. But that may or may not be a case. Now hello, Harmony. I see the child saying hello. I'm saying hello. I explained this whole system in the past satsangs. When you have a darshan of the master, that changes and so forth, according to the Sutra, Yoga teaching, and so on. Let me finish this very quickly. Only in the human form does a man have the privilege to meet God and attain eternal happiness. Therefore, behooves us to not waste this great opportunity to go back to our true home and true mother, father, Satpurush, or God. Now, this is so true. My God. And leave this valley of tears, suffering, and grief. God himself finds his souls and showers grace on them by bringing them to the perfect living master, or feet of the perfect living master. I haven't read this really before, but this is exactly what we've been talking about all this last year and so forth, the satsang. Generally, I make the point I make is always, please make this your last lifetime. Have your attention on the real deal. Why I'm saying this, because there may be some people claiming they can initiate you. That may or may not be true. Let me explain something here that when you deal with the perfect living master or saint, when he gives you the blessings of Nam, or initiates you, he established his form within you. One form will be the form within the mind. That is the one form. The other form will be the form he established within the soul. So when you seek initiation, and I'm speaking of original Sachkhand or Satlok. So when you seek an initiation, seek from the real master. In other words, who can fulfill this, he can establish himself as the radiant form within the mind. This is what you meditate on. And the form within the soul. Because let me explain to you that the mind is not permanent. Nothing established within the mind is permanent. The permanent state of awareness exists only within the Paratma in that sense. But we like to look at this as the individual souls and the reflection of that in let's call it individual soul. I spoke about this before, what's real, what's not. So you may listen to someone and they can offer you initiation. Be aware that this initiation may only be of the astral region. So you may get ultimate initiation of Satpurush, but you may be getting initiation of Jot Naranjan. So you have to be very careful. Who do you talk to? Who you keep the company with? And I'm not saying one thing is good or the other one is bad. There are people who are seeking astral initiation. The bad part could be misrepresentation by the guru, he or she, that they're receiving actually super initiation or some kind of upgrade of initiation. So this is very controversial. And there's for every real one, there's probably 10 fake gurus. Let me put it that way. These are not my words. These are words of these masters. And the words were the deal in Anurag Sagar. Please understand, I do not comment on anyone specifically. I'm just giving you general advice. To me, it doesn't matter. I like the way that things are now. I enjoyed the show. I'm not here to encourage anyone to go this way or that way or go there or here or anywhere, or follow this person or follow that person or get this initiation, go to that guru. No. This is no. I don't want to, this is not my role, okay, to comment on anybody. But I'm trying to just convey to you that to have some critical faculty within the mind, it's nothing bad. And not to be afraid to have your own opinion. Because I noticed talking to a lot of people, even initiates Mr. Puri, they're afraid. And generally, they're afraid of having their own opinion. So they will follow anything or anyone, whatever they told to. Like a sheep. Well, the person who pretends to be a shepherd is the best friend of the butcher. So that route is not going to take you, it's not going to end out well for you. So to have a little critical faculty or discrimination, I don't mean in a negative way, as this word is prescribed now. I mean, the right discrimination, I mean that don't be stupid in that sense, and don't act like a fool. And if someone acts like a fool and take you for the fool, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having our own opinion in that sense. Perfectly with master or your master who initiated is not going to love you less or more because you have your own opinion. But I noticed that people are very afraid. So when the master dies, they're very afraid to. It's almost like they stop to seeking the truth, the real truth, and they will follow someone who is making false claims. And this is generally true. If you look through the history, it happens all the time. Now, when I go back to this book, Radhaswami Taran, author is, by the way, American. So anyone who claims there's no spirituality in America, no people are able to be spiritual in America, that's not true. There's a lot of spiritual people in America. In the West also, not just in India. I would like to read something by this master. Gabakehar Singh Ji, the message he conveyed. If you want to please your Sadguru and realize God, you must love your family, your spouse, children, brothers, sisters, parents, and the people around you. And this master says, he said that to realize God, three things are a must. Guru, Jnana or Nam, the word, and Dhyan, which is Simran and Bhajan. In other words, master, knowledge, and meditation. And I spoke about these three principles a year ago, but this is as spoken by this guru. And this lines, Taran, that goes always to Jama Sen and Swamiji of Agra. Maybe I should explain something else when I'm here. Please understand that the Swamiji of Agra, this one here, you can print this out. This is what the year was born and so on. He is the one who basically came up with all the system by meditation and study holy scriptures and so forth. This is very, if you read his story of Swamiji Maharaj, you really get the sense what he did and really saligram after him. Because this is what we really call Surcha Yoga and Ishvarpuri Santmat. But he also described the meditation, and so is the Jamasen, and so is the great master Hazur Baba Savansen. And I noticed lately that some people will give you meditation workshops or guided meditation, but they will start with energy centers. In other words, they will encourage you to start the Muladhara chakra and go through all the centers and go to your third eye or Shivanara and the circle and go down and go up and the circle and go down. In other words, they will teach you the form of Kundalini yoga and so forth. And then they will tell you that unless you do this, you're not able to pierce through the 10th door. I'm not saying who and how and who's, I'm just trying to explain you what I generally noticed after Mr. Puri left. And this is not the teaching of Swamiji of Agra, all of these masters. This is not the practice of how the Surcha Yoga is practiced. We practice, the starting point is from the Shivanara, or the third eye, or the center of the head, or however you wanna call that. And from that point, we go within. We do not concentrate on the energy centers. This will hold you here, okay? So anyone who is telling you that, they are not explaining you meditation as practice in Surcha Yoga. They are not speaking of Santmat. This is not Santmat, this is not Surcha Yoga. As we practice. Although originally they practiced like that, but Swamiji of Agra changed that. And the great master followed Jamasen, great master Hazur Baba Samasen followed Jamasen and the Swamiji and all this line. This is not how we practice, like some people will teach you. And I don't want to go deeper into that because I've really explained you what that means and what they're doing. I don't want to even go there. But I want you to be aware that this is not how we practice Surcha Yoga. As taught by my master, Ishwar Puriji, as taught his master, Hazur Baba Savansen, and his master, Sanjama Sen, and his master, Swamiji of Agra. This is the kind of new age, the other way they explain this is new age type of stuff, and it's all astral. So whatever decisions you make, whatever you listen, and what you want to practice, it's up to you. But just be aware. The Mr. Puri explained this practice as a great master explained, and the great master explained this that the Simran, it's a 5 words. It's not just a 1 word like the other people will give you Satnam, anything like that. This great master explained that very vividly, that it's like going on the ladder. You go in each step continuously. So that's a great master use 5 words. Simran. There's a reason for that. Well, many people, they think they are smarter than Mr. Puri, they're smarter than the great master, Jaimal Singh, or Swamiji of Agra himself. And they will teach you something which is not the Sutra Yoga. They will teach you Kundalini Yoga. We'll start with that. And they will take you to try to take you to the 10th gate, to the Astral region, and then they even have a sounds mixed up. They will give you sounds and they convince you that you're in the causal region, but you are still in the Astral region. So be very careful. I don't know why I'm saying this, going ahead of me. I'm trying to give you some information that when you practice Sutra Yoga as prescribed by these masters, as prescribed by current master in Vyas, there's a very specific way of doing it. So don't fall for these tricks. I can tell you exactly what those tricks are. Give you names. Aravanurag Sagara. I just don't want to go there anymore. Deeper in that. I would end on that. So I also noticed and asked Pranay that there are some people signing into our YouTube channel under other kind of sign in, and this they will also use what we say at the satsangs for their satsangs. They will make this and that, and that's okay. I have no problem with that. The problem I have with that is when they start mixing this stuff and trying to impress someone else, that they are the masters and they know everything, but they're actually mixing all this totally. They're making of some information which is not even Sutra Yoga in the explanation. So I give you an example that I was listening yesterday to satsang I had about this meditation. That was the Bandara of April the 2nd this year. And I was explaining something about the pituitary body or gland and the pineal gland and how they're located, how. Please understand, this is not necessarily exactly, I'm trying to give examples in the pinned body, how to go within. But someone will listen to some of that, and during that satsang, I said there's the 4th exercise. Basically, I'm trying to say I never give you the point. Well, the real point of meditation, I did not disclose that during that satsang. I disclosed the point of the pituitary gland and the pineal gland and all that. I never told you where the real point is. But now someone will take that information from the other sources. They will claim that that point is the pituitary gland. I never said that. Or pineal body. They call this the 3rd eye. They call this not just even seat of the soul, but they actually saying this is a seat of Satpurush. My point is this, I haven't even tell you where that point is during the satsangs. So someone can listen even to this also from other sources. They can totally give you false information where that center is. When I said that the satsang, that was satsang at the time, that no one really know what that is, I really meant it, because they don't. Anyone who says that, this or that means they may or may not know where that is. And surely this is not the seat of Satpurush. Seat of Satpurush is located in a totally different point in the body. And this is the point Swami Jivavagra explained, talked about. So I came to a conclusion that even what we say at the satsangs, I say I have to be very more cautious, because there's people will take this. I know for the fact that there are people who are listening to this YouTube recordings only just to get information. They're not interested in attending satsang. They're not even interested in the truth. They're interested in the knowledge or information, so they can use this information for their own benefit, kind of impress somebody. So I want to explain something to you. When I say or give you from my experience or information, that doesn't mean I give you all of it. I do not give you all the information. And to me, this is kind of like, oh, well, let's see what these other people are going to do. And they're falling in their own traps. They do, right in front of my eyes. Now, am I here personally as Cezary to change the show? No. I enjoy the show. I love the show. I love to see what everybody is doing, what they're doing, and I'm not going to intervene in that sense. But in the satsang, call it a little sun god, of the brothers and sisters, because I'm not the master, we all are the same. I like to just share some information with you, just like I'm always encouraging you to share some information with me, so we can learn from each other. So I will stop at this, and I need to take a little break. Five minutes, 10 minutes, Pranay, what do you say?
10 sounds good, Cezary.
I need the 10 minutes, so let's stop recording, Nick. Thank you.